afternoon, everyone. Welcome to CES 2024. From the Consumer Technology Association, please welcome Jessica Booth and Brian Komisky.
I'm all on.
Excellent. Ooh.
A little feedback.
Oh, look, I think we're really all on.
Yeah.
Thank you all for being here today. We're really excited to be kicking off CES 2024 with all of you. But that's not all. We're actually really thrilled to be celebrating 100 years of the Consumer Technology Association. It's a big year for us. So CTA is an organization that owns and produces CES. And Brian, sometimes I actually feel like I'm 100, but I'm actually not. And this is actually my 11th CES. And every year when I come, I get that excitement of going into Central Hall and the awe and wonder of all the technology and innovation I see. What about you? How many years is this for you?
Well, this is my 4th CES, and I've been following it for nearly a decade, and I have to agree with you. Every year feels like the first time I'm back at CES with all the incredible innovation that we see. And for a century, CTA has been a leader on the technology trends shaping our world and how we live. And since our first show in 1967, CES has served as our window to tomorrow. So, we're back here in Las Vegas. We're going to discuss the trends that you're going to see on the show floor and how they define 2024, the next decade, and beyond. Simply put, we're here today to talk about tomorrow. But before we dive right into the trends, we should probably tell you who we are and why we're up here.
That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah. Jessica Booth, to my left, is CTA's research maven. She's our trailblazer of today's insights, leading our primary research group to discover current trends and really keep the pulse of the consumer.
So, Brian, that's actually a really nice introduction for, basically, I'm a research nerd. So,
I mean, we wouldn't be up here if we weren't research nerds.
So, Brian is CTA's futurist, our navigator of tomorrow's technology. He monitors the broader market while managing our thematic index partnership with NASDAQ. Paying attention to the industry while keeping an eye on the future. Together, we bring together the knowledge, our unique backgrounds and the knowledge of the consumer and the enterprise, of qualitative and quantitative. Basically, today and tomorrow, to uncover the latest trends and their potential opportunities. That said, we're going to be covering a lot of information today, and we don't want you to miss a thing. All of our slides will be available via the QR code.
And don't worry, you're going to see the QR code again at the end of this presentation. So let's dive in. To understand where we're heading tomorrow, we need to understand the technological changes of today. We have to return to the basics, asking ourselves the wheres, the whos, the hows, the whats, and the whys of innovation today. And to answer those questions are going to help us navigate the trends shaping our world and offer insight to CES 2024. We're going to cover many technologies today because innovation does not occur in silos. Breakthroughs in one technology often influence the advances of another because the world demands it. And CES is the place where all these innovations are going to come together.
First, let's look at how the population is changing. Specifically, Gen Z. Gen Z has been a hot topic this year, and at a quarter of the population, Gen Z is the second largest cohort in the United States, behind millennials, which is the best generation if you ask the two of us up here. Sorry about that. Okay, so in a recent study, all right.
Are we back?
I think we're getting the mics figured out so you won't have that in your ear.
Maybe it's up too close.
Is that better? Yeah. Oh, no. right. I'm gonna wait for you guys to give me a thumbs up if better? Okay. All right, let's go for it. So, in a recent study, CTA found that Gen Z tends to be very tech inclined, many even finding their identity in their tech products. I promise it's not the study. All right. So, this cohort even reports a tendency for splurging on technology. However, we expect this to change as more of them enter the workforce and start paying their own bills, basically establishing their own financial power. That said, our study was based in the US. Looking broadly, we see that the global population stands around 8 billion people. With that, we still see that a quarter of the population is made up of Gen Z, with some of the markets having larger proportions of this cohort. Ultimately, we will be watching as this sizable and influential generation ages.
And that's a good point to look at the global numbers. Internet access has been the engine for growth. It underpins our global economy, it fosters social connections. In Southeast Asia, West Africa, and Latin America have seen substantial gains in individuals using the internet over the last few years as these regions have integrated deeper into this engine. And pulling up some of the figures, as you can see up here, we have a lot of growth coming from those regions. In particular, China was only around half of individuals connected to the internet. That's surged in the last few years to 73%, which means we're at a major runway for continued growth here. And it's important to remember, 90% of Gen Z resides in these countries, pointing towards considerable more growth. In fact, 1 billion more people are expected to come online by 2027. And smartphones have been a key access technology here, but satellite-based communications and internet solutions from companies like CES Exhibitors, SpaceX, bringing their Starlink technology represents the next stage in powering this growth. But when you have more people coming online than ever, you need to have a secure, scalable, and efficient digital infrastructure. And two paths are going to support this through technology. The first are those that are advancing connectivity. You have next G tech like 5G, 6G, 7G, beyond, that's going to offer wide reach for connectivity. You'll have IoT and Edge, which allow for the distribution of computing resources to boost up that efficiency. And finally, CES 2024 will highlight some cutting-edge tech that secures global connectivity. Tools like Wi-Fi, which, if you look around us, this is moving from Wi-Fi to using light to transmit data instead. It makes it invulnerable to outside disruption. So you see firms like Photon-Fi, which are advancing this tech stateside. The second path is what CTA and NASDAQ, our thematic stock index partner, has for more than a decade, is what we would call the digital utilities. And there are three technologies to remember that make this up. There's AI and robotics, there's cloud computing, and cybersecurity. And we've seen for the last 15 years how digital transformation has really forced these technologies to move from optional upgrades into technological necessities to power a secure, scalable, and efficient digital infrastructure. But as we talk about technology today, you should remember that technology's advancement is the result of a balancing act between pairs and macroeconomic forces, between the consumer and the enterprise. And it's intentional here to talk about both at CES because you won't just see consumer innovations at the show. About 30 to 40% of exhibitors indicated that they'll be showcasing enterprise tech advancements at the show.
40%?
40%. It really isn't just the consumer electronics show, it is CES. It's where all innovation, enterprise, and industry come together. So you're going to see that consumers, when we talk about these forces, seek the best value, while enterprises strive for growth. You'll have consumers drive demand for tech, while enterprises use tech to scale productivity to meet this demand. And finally, consumers often use tech to address necessities in their lives, while enterprises use innovation to expand the impact of their business. Ultimately, tech has to balance these forces, and the technologies that can balance them the best are those that rapidly advance and push greater societal transformation. So when we walk through our trends today, you're going to see this balancing act in action, and how many, if not all, are serving a greater good while still fostering this enterprise growth.
So it's great that you were talking about innovation, because when we talk about technology and trends, we tend to think about verticals like computers, TVs, gaming, mobility, health, and even food tech. And there are some trends that are moving horizontally, cutting across every industry. And these advancements are actually improving the performance and even expanding the impact of these technologies. In many ways, these are the trends that are truly shaping the world as we know it. AI, sustainability, and inclusivity are representing three of these key trends. Each have been rapidly advancing over the last year and really helping ensure the world and the technologies listed here, as well as many, many more, operate in a way that is more intelligent, greener, and inclusive for all. Now, let's pivot into tomorrow and do a little bit of a deeper dive into the individual technologies that are going to be shaping the future.
I think that's a great idea, Jessica. And it's no coincidence that we started with artificial intelligence, because tomorrow is going to be more intelligent than ever. While generative AI, including tools like ChatGPT, have rightfully been the subject of intense excitement, think about it. It gave some tangibility, especially to consumers. You put in a query, and it gives you a novel answer and response. That's incredible. The AI ecosystem, though, is much larger. It expands from chips all the way to robots. And you're going to see chip makers and AI hardware companies like Intel and Qualcomm, who will be keynoting this week. They really make the brains for AI that powers a lot of innovation. In fact, Microsoft has actually announced their first change to their keyboard in over 30 years.
Really? What was that change?
That change includes a button for their AI Copilot feature, showcasing that AI hardware is going to be a major story over the next few years. But when you add in data infrastructure tools with AI hardware, you get essentially a horizontal wave of tech innovation that cuts across every industry. And that wave is going to appear in three pathways. The first is through platforms that enable machine learning. You're going to see leaders like Alibaba and Mo that use these platforms to power e-commerce, software development, and more. You'll see enhanced digital twins that simulate physical environments for limitless research and development at a fraction of the cost. And of course, what would CES be without some of those cutting-edge robots that improve our world from either our countertops all the way to fulfillment and logistics centers?
So I'm glad you brought up AI on the countertop, because that really brings me to talk about the consumer. And we're going to start seeing more of the AI in the home, and CTA has been researching consumer awareness and perceptions of AI for over 5 years. In our most recent study, we found that close to 9 in 10 US adults were familiar with AI. However, there are still many gaps with US consumers, even those familiar, with understanding the applications of AI. This leaves an area for the industry to educate and for education among AI technologies. Nevertheless, those that are familiar tend to have positive sentiment around AI. Specifically, we see innovation, futuristic, and intelligence at the top of the terms that they're actually associating with the AI technology. And we're seeing less of them associating words such as scary or intimidating or malice with the AI technology in general. So they're overall, again, positive sentiment around AI, and that is great news for the industry. And while consumers are generally positive about AI, we do still see some concerns. Concerns such as privacy, disinformation, and job loss. With AI in the spotlight for consumers and enterprises alike, it is important that we have a unified and objective approach. 86% of those familiar with AI agree there should be a balanced approach to how AI policy is implemented. 3 in 4 indicate it's important that government regulate the AI, specifically federal government. CTA is at the forefront of global innovation, global thought leadership, and pro-innovation advocacy, specifically with our industry-driven standards, policy, and research. As AI continues to unfold here at CES 2024, you can be part of that conversation at the Innovation Policy Summit, hosted by CTA on Thursday, January 11th. You can find more about that on your CES app. But beyond the summit, you will see the AI ecosystem and the innovation in action right on the show floor this week. Right, Brian?
You're exactly right. And really make sure you download the CES app because you're really going to be able to see some of these exhibitors that we're going to walk through now, as well as many others on the show floor. Because with AI, it's honestly going to be everywhere. There will be a dedicated section in North Hall for AI and robotics, but you'll see it in the digital health sections. You'll see it with autonomous vehicles in West Hall. You'll even see it in the Eureka Park Start Pavilions and discussions on the stages of C-Space at the ARIA. So we're really going to see a variety of innovation in this space. And if we move on into the exhibitors themselves, you're going to see exhibitors that really manifest the 3 platforms that we talked about in AI. The first being platforms. And this is Maum.AI's AI Human M3. This is a chatbot that is versatile and offers real humanistic interface that can be used in kiosks, devices, and cars. You'll also see the Metaverse in display, where Siemens is going to bring, they're actually going to be keynoting tomorrow night. They're going to be bringing their industrial Metaverse, which is an AI-driven digital twin technology that they developed in partner with NVIDIA. And this will support future factories.
But you said they're keynoting tomorrow?
They're keynoting tomorrow, so make sure to have that CES app to keep track of that. And finally, for robotics, WIRobotics is bringing their WIM exoskeleton. When we think about robotics, we think of the form factors, right? Of something that's, kind of a boxier-like machine that maybe is moving across a fulfillment center. But they can also be lightweight and dynamic and wearable, and this is an exoskeleton that can do that for a variety of applications. Jessica also mentioned that tomorrow is going to be greener. And sustainability is the embodiment of really how innovation often emerges in 2 ways. And they rhyme. So if you remember anything, please remember that they rhyme. The first is they are revolutionary. Innovation is revolutionary means it's a moonshot breakthrough that rapidly transforms a field. So think about this. This past year, right, we saw nuclear fusion ignition achieved multiple times. That's revolutionary. The other, and here's the rhyme, is evolutionary. And this is marked by those iteration cycles that incrementally improve our lives. Think about all the breakthroughs and advancements we've seen in electric vehicles, renewable power sources, and as well as consumer electronic recycling. This has really pushed forward to that greener tomorrow. So when we think about this though, 2016 was the year that the Paris Climate Accords were written. 2030 is when most of the targets are supposed to be achieved. We are now at the halfway point as we enter 2024. And as a result, you're going to see investment going towards sustainable research and development across the globe to accelerate the efforts to meet these targets. So let's go with the United States, for example. You have $97 billion allocated from the bipartisan infrastructure law, as well as the Inflation Reduction Act, to achieve carbon-free electricity by 2035 and a net zero economy by 2050. So much of this advancement is going to go into what you see up here, which are materials, alternative materials like graphene. You're going to see sustainable infrastructure, as well as experimental power sources, really making up the bulk of the investment into R&D around sustainability. But consequently, sustainability is going to be a huge trend at CES 2024 on our show floor and beyond. And this starts with the materials themselves. So let's go, for example, with Exoskeleton. They're going to be bringing their power foil technology, which are fully customizable solar cells that you can integrate into any consumer electronics. So think headphones or even GPS-enabled dog trackers.
That sounds really amazing. So you're telling me that I could put that on my dog, Tucker?
Exactly. So if in case you ever got lost, you could find them, and not only would you feel good about your dog coming back, you feel good because you did it sustainably. And beyond that, you're also going to see alternative energy power sources. So at CES, we've seen green hydrogen breakthroughs, wind breakthroughs, but you'll also have solar breakthroughs with examples like Jackery and their solar Mars bot. This is a robot that moves across your campsite, around your home, with extendable solar panels, and it can serve as a means of powering a campsite or even as an emergency power backup source. And then finally, you're going to see some novel innovation in the sustainability sector, like the air farm from Midbar. This is an inflatable and portable smart farm that can grow food sustainably in deserts and drought-impacted areas.
So now let's transition to inclusivity. When we think about inclusivity, we think about the big three: accessibility, diversity, and equality. To quote Google's Sundar Pichai, a diverse mix of voices leads to a better discussion, decision, and outcomes for everyone, end quote. Through diversity, our products and services are benefiting and experiencing more innovation. But companies are benefiting too. The consultant group BCG reports that companies with diverse management teams are seeing 19% higher revenue due to innovation. Further, looking at a specific population, secondary research estimates there are around 1.8 billion people with disabilities globally. While not only the right thing to do, companies that are leading in disability inclusion saw 1.6 times more revenue in general. So as we look to CES, you'll see inclusivity all around. From our partners, such as LGBT Tech, the Female Potion, Black Girl Ventures, and CTA's Foundation. Plus our conference track, Innovation for All. And they'll be covering topics such as accessible tech products and how they're shaping the industry, funding and support for diverse backgrounds and entrepreneurs, as well as backing women in tech and closing the gender gap. Finally, you're going to see the future of the inclusive design of products and services on the show floor themselves, with exhibitors such as Garmin's Venue. This is a fitness tracker, and it's going to help those with needing a wheelchair with their fitness tracking needs and have accessible features. You're also going to see UMA, which is a security feature tool that helps with women's safety. So when they're walking home, they have a secure safety tool from A to B. And Brian, I also think that Ray-Ban, or the owners of Ray-Ban and Oakley are going to be here, right?
Yes, they are. That's EssilorLuxottica.
That's great, because I hear they're going to be bringing some hearable glasses that are going to help those who have a vision impairment and hearing impairment have this really nice, stylish and chic design glasses. Beyond these examples, you can see CTA's Foundation at work with their promoting accessibility and inclusive design through tech innovation. And those are going to be, you can see those examples with our grant winners that are going to be found in Eureka Park this year.
And a lot of that advancement will help with aging and senior folks as well as disabled individuals. And it's important that we're talking about inclusivity because it really pairs well with this next trend, which is we're seeing a convergence of health and wellness innovation. And I want you to remember three words when you think about digital health and wellness technology: personalized, accessible, and intelligent. So let's start with the first. Personalization, it moves patients from the silo of treating one condition to a systemic approach that addresses the full patient profile. So it's not just about treating sleep. There could be anxiety behind it. So you're pairing both and treating both because it's the full patient. Then there's accessibility, focused innovation in health and wellness, which really ensures that there's no bridges it bridges the gaps of care to ensure no one's left behind by a lot of these advancements. So let's take L'Oreal, for example. They're going to be the first beauty tech company to keynote at CES 2024 this year. And they really planted a strong flag in this space last year when they unveiled their Hapta device. If you don't remember what that was, it's a device that helps individuals with limited mobility apply lipstick and makeup, and really showcase that inclusive beauty tech design can make wellness accessible. Because I know for myself, I feel more confident if I can wear a little bit of foundation when I'm on stage, and so everyone should be able to get that confidence, and that's what that device can do.
I'm very excited about that.
I am too. And then there's the last word, which intelligent is very intentional again, because healthcare is going to be a primary beneficiary of artificial intelligence. You're going to see breakthroughs in primary care chatbots, adaptive remote patient monitoring tools, and when you think about intelligence in the digital health space, we talked about ChatGPT earlier. That's an acronym, and the T stands for transformer.
Like Bumblebee?
Not quite, but it is more than meets the eye. And so you'll see that transformer technology can be used to predict protein sequences at the atomic level, which could unlock millions of new proteins to accelerate drug discovery.
So, Brian, I'm actually glad that you brought up the health side, because I wanted to mention women's health, and specifically all the attention that women's health has been getting this past year, and rightfully so, as women make up 50% of the population. And we're actually seeing that FemTech Focus is forecasting that the women's digital health industry is forecasted to reach 1.2 trillion.
That's trillion with a T.
Trillion with a T by 2027. This area is ripe for the technology industry, and it's going to hit on those buzzwords that you mentioned: personalization, accessibility, and intelligent. CTA has actually taken a leadership role in the women's health space, producing research in 2023 and to really help inform the industry. Some of the challenges that we found among US women regarding their health revolves around cost, time, and access. Cost being the largest factor, with many women reporting high healthcare costs and insurance costs being an issue. We are also seeing their stating needs around having to prioritize their health over other things. And additionally, time. There is a large emerging theme around women not having time for their healthcare needs, and I'm sure we've all been there where we're overly committed and we can't get into the doctor's office, or the office hours are too limiting to get away.
I know I've been there myself.
I have as well, and it's just really hard to get into those office hours. So digital health solutions, while these challenges are not new, digital health offers a solution and hope. Women have hope that the digital health will provide a future for their health care. It will help lower costs and help reduce the healthcare disparity. We will see some of these solutions on the show floor this week, right, Brian?
That's correct. And you're going to see a wide range of digital health innovation on the show floor. In fact, we're actually going to see some solutions that directly address women's health, like the Terra Sleep from Amira Health. So this actually touches on all three of those buzzwords that I was mentioning. You have a wearable AI bracelet, so it's built for a form factor that can be fitted on a feminine wrist. And what it does with an AI on board is it helps track an individual's hot flashes from menopause, so it can trigger a connected cooling pad in your bed to really reduce a lot of that discomfort of sleep through the night. So you're breaking down the silos of menopausal and sleep health by combining them into a single device. But of course, there's going to be more innovation here on the show floor. You're going to see Abbott bring their neuromodulation therapy, which is an implantable device for pain relief. And you can actually learn more about this technology as well as all the other ones that Abbott will be bringing during their Media Day press conference. That's going to happen tomorrow at noon in Mandalay Bay's Surf Ballroom on floor 2, Ballroom A. And then finally, you'll have Periscope from HealthPlus.ai in Eureka Park's Netherlands Pavilion. This can use AI to examine electronic healthcare records to reduce the risk of surgery, or of infection after surgery.
That sounds really exciting.
That sounds like we saved some lives, and that's incredible. But that's digital health. Let's roll into the next category, which you'll see in the West Hall and Central Plaza.
I was going to say, I see what you did there.
I like to make puns, you'll hear more, I'm sure. And we're going to see that the future of mobility is electric and self-driving. BMW and Mercedes are going to showcase some of the development in their EV portfolios and how that's accelerating. You'll see innovators like Vallejo and Luminar showcasing advancement in self-driving. But this extends beyond the car. You have advancements in e-bikes, electric motorcycles, boats, even electrified construction vehicles and flying cars at CES. So from the consumer to the enterprise, CES features everything that goes into the car as well as outside the car. So we often say that CES is one of the largest auto shows. It's not just that. We're the largest mobility show in the world.
So focusing on electric vehicle, CTA conducted research in 2023 among EV owners and those that were likely to be purchasing an EV. Specifically, we looked at the emotional values of those purchasing an EV. We found that consumers are really looking at having like a peace of mind when they're purchasing an electric vehicle. And what this means is they're really kind of looking to overcome that battery and driving range anxiety and have that peace of mind when they're purchasing. So a consumer can really be thinking about that driving need on their daily commute. Consumers are also thinking about the safety features. There's a lot of safety features in these new electric vehicles, and that really makes them feel good. It makes them feel good because they're thinking about how they're going to be protecting their family and really protecting those around them. Next is environmental stewardship. Knowing that a consumer won't have to buy gas anymore makes them feel like a good citizen. It makes them feel environmentally responsible. And finally, cost. Thinking about a car as a major investment, a consumer wants to know that the cost will pay out for them in the longevity of the car, as well as not having to maybe make as many maintenance on the car, as well as, again, the gas. And that makes them feel in control of their finances and makes them feel smart. So really that financial responsibility. So these values will help as we talk to consumers as they purchase their first, second, or even third electric vehicle. Pushing further, we wanted to ask consumers about the future of electric vehicles. And when asking about future enhancements, owners and intenders came up with a list that can be refined as bigger, better, and faster, but not in the traditional sense of these terms. What they are seeking is a bigger network of chargers. So greater access to charging stations and more compatibility among chargers and ports. And this request will address the battery and the driving range that they have. Next, consumers are asking for better. And again, this goes back to those driving assistant technologies in the car and those safety features and in-car services like the infotainment system. Ultimately thinking of their next EV as a smartphone on wheels. And finally, faster. But again, not in the traditional sense of speed, but that they can charge up their car as fast as a traditional gas engine, or that they could do wireless charging.
It's interesting, as you were talking about those emotional values, it almost makes it seem like EV is no longer just electric vehicle, it's emotional value is what it can stand for too.
That is true.
But I'm glad we're talking about electrification because you're gonna see how it's getting, on the next slide, bigger, better, and faster. Moreover, you're gonna see its continued expansion in vehicles across land, sea, and air. So let's start on the ground. We know that Honda is going to be unveiling their new global EV series here at the show as they join others in this deep dive into the EV transition. On the waterways, we're going to see Brunswick advancing electric boating technology through their Mercury 30E electric motor. And finally, CES will demonstrate how electrification is moving from the highways to the skyways, with first-time exhibitor Supernal bringing a vertiport, so think like the taxi of tomorrow, like the Jetsons, like a taxi terminal.
I'm super excited about that. So you're saying that one day maybe I could fly to work?
I think that day could be coming sooner than you think. And you'll also see eVTOL concepts from XPeng Aero HT displaying a ground-to-air flying car model. But still, vehicle tech innovation isn't just about electrification. there's an entire ecosystem of mobility advancements on display at CES 2024. Inside the vehicle itself, you're going to see AUO's interactive transparent window, which is a micro LED display that can offer precise driving info while operating a vehicle.
Kind of like the better I talked about.
Exactly like the better you're talking about. And we're going to talk more about display advancements in general coming up. Kia is going to be on the show floor, and they're going to really push us to rethink vehicle design with their purpose-built vehicles, or PBVs. These are modular and electric vehicles custom designed for a specific use, so think custom designed for delivery. Meanwhile, you're going to have Garmin bringing autonomous landing technologies for planes, and Honda bringing a fully electric scooter in Moto Compacto to really show how the micromobility sector is advancing. So truly, we're going to see innovation from A to Z that's going to get you from A to B.
Brian, that was a very exciting category. But let me see if I can top it a little bit. So the video and TV category continues to be a fan favorite at CES, with larger screens, stunning picture technology, and expected new features like wireless, foldable, and transparent screens. However, the TV is more than just a screen. The modern TV is smart, connected, and a media platform with advanced control features to empower consumers. We will watch as the TV becomes an intelligent center for the home. Moving beyond just streaming entertainment, it will advance to a smart command hub, connecting appliances such as the kitchen and the laundry room, accessing security cameras like your front door to tell you who's here, and potentially incorporating onboard cameras for thermal imaging for telehealth. Beyond interconnectivity within the home, the TV will become an e-commerce platform, allowing consumers to shop for products and services directly from their TVs while they watch shows. Ultimately, we're going to see a shift in the TV becoming more like a smartphone ecosystem. Finally, we're going to see more interactive and non-linear TV programming. And this is going to be growing in popularity as it breaks out from the tsunami of content that consumers have access to today. And this is going to give consumers a way to choose a path for the character they're watching, as well as potentially betting on a live game, and really just giving consumers an ability to take control of their viewing experience. I feel like, Brian, you might actually enjoy this feature.
I'm really excited about it because in my mind, it sounds like it's going to be soon where I can bet the over on 300 yards for Josh Allen for Bills Dolphins tonight, which, go Bills. But beyond that, you're going to see some advances in content too, right?
This is true. So looking directly at content at CES, we're bringing together the top players in the space. You can see live demos on the show floor from Netflix with their latest immersive experience, 3-body program. And you can visit Warner Brothers, Discovery, and TikTok. And so many more. Like, honestly, I can't go through all of them. It would take up the entire presentation. But you can also learn more from C-Space in their conference track, covering topics such as building a fan base and utilizing AI and AR. So, Ryan, what else are we going to see on the C-Space stage?
That's a good question. I think I have some answers. And so from the stages and exhibits of C-Space and throughout the show, we're going to enter a new era of content and entertainment. We're well into the video streaming age with a variety of available services and different tiers like ad-supported features, which leads us into a new chapter that's going to focus on increased bundling. So you can see moving from just the Disney bundle to you can pair Max and Netflix via a single Verizon subscription. Additionally, these services will look to bolster their platforms with live sports. So as you saw this year, Max brought women's soccer as well as hockey to their platform. And with a growing recognition of more diverse audiences and a preference from younger viewers for subtitles, you're going to see a push for, and this goes back to this inclusive design trend, multilingual and international libraries. Like, let's look at the success of Squid Game on Netflix and how you can see in the States just a rise of Korean content on the platform. Meanwhile, in audio, New entrants like TikTok are expanding the available services for streaming, so beyond just Spotify, Apple, and others. In turn, this is going to drive audio platforms to really focus on how they can increase revenue. So if Jessica and I are subscribed at the same subscriber level, despite our different preferences in music, we generate the same revenue. So as a result, you're going to see efforts like monetizing superfans. So think, how do you platform exclusive content to get Swifties,
Like me?
Like you, BTS Army, and more, to really pay more for a little bit more of that exclusive content. But audio is not just music. And you're going to see, with a rising growth in older podcast listeners, a push in content to really capture these ears. And of course, gaming. You're going to see how its IP continues to be a major driver in the overall entertainment sector. The Super Mario Brothers movie earned over $1 billion at the box office, so it's not a surprise when I say that there are 40 TV series and movies in development based on gaming properties. Still, it's not just about the IP. On the development side, you're going to see AI and how it will impact game design, as well as, I know for myself, I'm part of that millennial cohort we were talking about. I grew up with gaming, so there's nostalgia that comes with certain titles, and there will be a push to remake some of these retro classics and bring them into the modern graphics landscape. We're spending a lot of time today talking about content-related services because, based on our latest forecast that was just released, you can see that consumers are increasing not just spending their time, but their money on software and services like Hulu and Spotify. In fact, we're now up to almost a third of their purchases going there from just a quarter a few years ago. And so when we think about what's driving that purchasing, it's the three areas we were just talking about. It's gaming, it's video, it's audio. I'm stepping to the side so you guys can take photos, because even though you get the slides, I know you want this data because it's from newly released, so this is hot off the press. But 68% of purchasing on software and services comes from these three. And gaming is going to be driving the revenue for software and services in 2024. And really, this is a really good example of how innovations in software and hardware are really starting to come together. You'll see that on the show floor, and gaming is a prime example of this. Software and hardware really come together to create that unique user experience.
That's right, Brian. I'm actually glad you're leading me in for gaming, because we saw that Newzoo estimates there are over 3 billion gamers worldwide. And our research tells us that the largest proportion of gamers are mobile players, like myself, followed by console and PC. As we look to the future of gaming, we will see more hybrid, mixed-mode gameplay across these different platforms. For many, gaming is social. And CTA's research shows us that nearly half of all gamers note that compatibility with their friends' systems is an important element of their gaming console choice. With the ability to have portability also popping up as another really important element among gamers. As we look to the advancement of hybrid gaming, we know that consumers' desires will be met as they continue to evolve with the next console. So we're very excited about that. Another trend in gaming that we'll continue to watch is immersive features. As the Metaverse and XR technology advances, key hardware solutions such as Hapta vests, gloves, and controllers like Ultraleap and their XR gaming control will give gamers the ability to really feel the Metaverse, so experience their games in a different way. And we'll see the biggest players in gaming at CES this year, from hardware, software, accessories, and developers. And you can hear from the studios behind the biggest blockbuster games from 2023, like CD Projekt and Ubisoft, and more, many more this week, covering conference topics such as how the business gaming model is evolving, and how gaming is becoming more accessible, and how AI is actually being used in gaming design. And Brian, if I'm not mistaken, I think you're actually doing one of those sessions, right?
I am, at 10 a.m. on Wednesday morning. We can talk about how gaming is really global, because if you look at the brands up here, they range from East Asia to Central Europe all the way back to the Americas. But let's shift gears a little bit and go back a little bit to that macro. We've talked a lot about consumer and enterprise development, but it's important to remember that tech innovation does not occur in a vacuum. We face a lot of complex challenges today, like climate change, armed conflict, aging infrastructure, and food insecurity. And CES 2024 will feature technologies that are empowering human securities or human rights to ensure a better tomorrow. Further, CES is once again partnering with the United Nations and the World Academy of Art and Science for the Human Security for All campaign. In fact, CTA announced at the UN in September that technology would become the 8th human security pillar. So look out for those experiential activations highlighting CTA and the UN partnership across the LVCC and the Venetian. And still though, technology innovation will continue to support human securities like environmental protection through some of the sustainable breakthroughs we talked about. Meanwhile, innovation in agri-food tech, smart communities, and fintech will help bolster financial security, community security, and food security. Let's stay with agri-food tech for a moment, as you're going to see innovation from farm to table at CES 2024 that combats food insecurity and enhances our enjoyment. You'll see ag tech playing a vital role for ensuring food production in climate-affected environments or amid labor shortages. We discussed earlier the air farm from Midbar and how that will play a role in harsh climate growth, but we're also going to see innovations from returning exhibitor John Deere, as well as first-time exhibitor Kubota, focus on automation and precision agriculture. Next-gen food prep advancements at CES will showcase alternative proteins for health, improved shelf life tech, and innovations that dramatically reduce food prep time, like Cold Snap's frozen treat maker, which, as someone who does like to bake, I'm excited for something that can speed that process up. And of course, the retail and service sector will continue its evolution via robotic servers and autonomous delivery. Yokai Express will be one of the companies at CES 2024 displaying these advancements through their work, creating an autonomous restaurant that can serve people gourmet food.
So, Brian, all this talk about food has made me hungry. I'm really looking forward to the spoons taste test at Unveil.
It's really going to be a taste of what's to come, I can say.
So, as we get to the end of our topic, I want to leave you with a few words. And that being said, CES is truly the most powerful tech event. It spans across consumers and the enterprise landscape. It is the largest platform bringing together the greatest minds, brands, and the most impactful innovation. And it's all together right here in this 1 week. And we're really looking at the future of technology that will be the most intelligent, greener, and inclusive for all. And that is why I am excited to be here, to be part of that conversation, to see what will impact my research and the industry, as well as me as a consumer. Really, you said it earlier, Brian, I'm here today to see tomorrow. So Brian, why are you excited for CES?
I'm excited for CES because I think it evokes a unique sense of wonder. Like the World's Fair or even the original Epcot, CES is where the very spark of innovation comes alive. You're going to see that innovation from the Startup Pavilion to Eureka Park, to the grand exhibits of the Convention Center, and even at C-Space. But I think what Jessica and I really want to leave you all here today with is the same question. Why are you excited for CES? We're really looking forward to hearing the answer to that question throughout this week. Make sure to use the hashtag CES 2024 on social platforms as we look forward to sharing in the excitement of CES together. And that's going to start right now with CES Unveiled. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. And we'll actually be right here at the front stage if you have additional questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.